In a wild, desolate land where science seems powerless against unexplained supernatural phenomena, there lies a ranch that has become the epicenter of some of America's most chilling and mysterious events. Skinwalker Ranch, a place where portals suddenly open in the dead of night, where strange creatures appear and vanish without a trace, and where livestock are dissected with terrifying precision. This is not just the story of a family pushed to the edge of endurance, but also a nearly decade-long scientific investigation seeking answers to mysteries beyond all understanding. But is the truth waiting at the end of this path, or is the darkness silently watching us still? Hidden within the vast wilderness of northeastern Utah, USA, Skinwalker Ranch spans approximately 500 acres and has long been at the heart of chilling stories, supernatural phenomena, and reports that defy conventional scientific explanation. Locals have given it many names: the UFO Ranch, the Crossroads of Dimensions. But the most haunting and well-known remains Skinwalker Ranch. The ranch itself was established in the late 19th to early 20th century, but the mysteries surrounding it trace back much further, rooted deeply in Native American legend and spirituality. According to cultural researchers and oral traditions passed down by Navajo elders, the land where Skinwalker Ranch now sits was once the epicenter of violent conflict between two native tribes, the Navajo and the Ute. This brutal war left behind scars not only on the land, but on the spirit of the region. The Navajo people believe that after being betrayed by the Ute, who allegedly allied themselves with outside forces, they cast an ancient curse upon the land, the Skinwalker Curse. In Navajo culture, a skinwalker refers to a dark witch or sorcerer capable of shape-shifting into predatory animals such as wolves, foxes, or bears to spread fear and destruction upon those who dare step onto the cursed territory. These beings are said to possess the ability to manipulate human minds, move at inhuman speeds, and even cross through dimensions. Later, when the land came under white ownership, strange occurrences began to be recorded more frequently and in more detail. Cattle vanishing without a trace, mysterious lights flickering in the night sky, large humanoid creatures with grotesque features stalking the ranch perimeter, and even unidentified flying objects seen hovering overhead. Some witnesses have even claimed to see portals, glowing gateways that open mid-air above the fields, through which unknown entities and dazzling lights would emerge, only to vanish again in the blink of an eye. In 1994, Terry and Gwen Sherman, a couple working in livestock ranching, purchased a large ranch in northeastern Utah at an unusually low price. At first glance, the land seemed perfect for their cattle operations. However, the moment they set foot on the property, they noticed strange signs that would have unsettled any rational person. Every door and window was secured with locks on both the inside and outside, and massive chains, seemingly intended to restrain something large and dangerous, were anchored around the yard. Despite a growing sense of unease, the Shermans decided to move in. Only a few hours after settling in, the first wave of terror struck. While inspecting their herd in the fields, the family suddenly encountered a bizarre creature, an enormous wolf, nearly 6 feet long and standing shoulder high to an adult man. Strangely, it acted tame, even allowing Terry to pet its head, but within seconds, it turned and attacked a young calf, clamping its jaws around the animal's neck inside the corral without hesitation. Terry and his son reacted immediately, first striking it with a stick, then firing a handgun, and finally a rifle, yet none of it seemed to faze the creature. It stood there calmly, staring at them as if immune to pain. Eventually, the wolf walked away slowly, vanishing into the nearby forest. The Shermans followed its tracks, but abruptly, the prints ended, as if the massive beast had evaporated into thin air. The air was thick with a foul and metallic stench that was nearly unbearable. From that moment on, unexplained phenomena became a regular occurrence at the Sherman Ranch. Food left out on the kitchen table would suddenly vanish, only to reappear sealed in its original packaging, as if untouched. Towels hanging in the bathroom would be found moved without anyone entering the room. Farming tools weighing up to 70 pounds, about 32 kilograms, were mysteriously relocated, once even discovered dangling high in a tree over 70 feet tall. Even more disturbing were the strange lights that began to appear at night, glowing orbs of blue and orange light that hovered silently over the fields. The year 1995 marked the peak of the strange and terrifying events the Sherman family endured at Skinwalker Ranch. The earlier bizarre incidents, vanishing food, strange lights in the sky, the bulletproof giant wolf, were now only the tip of the iceberg. Something deeper, darker had awakened, and it had set its sights on the Sherman family. Their livestock, the backbone of their livelihood, began disappearing mysteriously. Not long after, the missing cattle were found. Horrifying state. The carcasses had been surgically dissected with perfect precision, as if done using laser tools in a modern operating room. Strangely, there was no blood, no drag marks, no signs of struggle. Everything was unnaturally clean. With decades of ranching experience, Terry knew this wasn't the work of wild animals or any ordinary human. But it wasn't just the cattle being targeted. The Sherman family began witnessing bizarre humanoid entities around their home. At night, tall, faceless figures, as if their heads were covered in smooth, seamless skin, silently wandered around the house, tapping on windows, staring inward. Terry reported hearing them whispering in a language unlike any human speech, sometimes echoing directly inside his mind, like a signal transmitted into his thoughts. One night, while patrolling the land in hopes of protecting his herd, Terry witnessed something unforgettable: a glowing orange portal hanging midair over a field, cracking open like a rip in the night sky. From it, a large black creature with a reptilian body slowly slithered out and disappeared into the darkness. Soon after, a strange flying craft, silent and softly glowing, emerged, hovered in the sky, and vanished without a trace. However, the most heartbreaking event didn't involve livestock or equipment, but the family's beloved dogs, whom they treated as part of the family. On a quiet night, 3 of the dogs suddenly bolted after a floating blue orb near the fence line. The orb emitted a low-frequency hum that caused unbearable tension, almost like it was driving those who heard it to madness. In seconds, the dogs vanished into the night after the light. The next morning, Terry found nothing but 3 piles of gray ash. No signs of life remained. Under the constant pressure of these relentless supernatural occurrences, the Sherman family fell into emotional and psychological crisis. Gwen began suffering from chronic insomnia and deteriorated to the point she could no longer work. Their children grew increasingly fearful, distracted, and their academic performance dropped significantly. Terry, the strongest among them, began to question his own sanity. Skinwalker Ranch, what they had once believed to be a new beginning, had become a waking nightmare. The family, worn down day by forces they could neither comprehend nor control, came to one undeniable conclusion: they no longer belonged here, and something or someone was determined to make them leave. It wasn't just the events themselves. Terry and Gwen felt as if a powerful intelligence was watching, testing, and manipulating them. Shadows slid past windows, whispers echoed in the night, and the sense of being constantly observed only grew stronger. Every effort to defend the ranch failed, and after 2 years of living in unrelenting fear, the Sherman family was forced to sell the property, leaving behind one of the most infamous strings of paranormal phenomena in modern American history. After media coverage of the mysterious phenomena at Skinwalker Ranch, American billionaire Robert Bigelow, a man deeply interested in phenomena beyond conventional science, took immediate action. In 1996, he purchased the entire ranch from the Sherman family. His goal was not merely to own this enigmatic land, but to conduct an unprecedented large-scale study to uncover what was truly happening there. To achieve this, Bigelow established the National Institute for Discovery Science, NADI, a team of scientists, engineers, and former intelligence officers, mostly skeptics, who rigorously adhered to empirical research methods. Within the first year, NADS deployed numerous monitoring devices and tested every aspect of the environment: soil quality, water sources, electromagnetic waves, radiation levels. They even evaluated the Sherman family's psychological state to rule out collective hallucination or neurological disorders. The clear conclusion: no evidence suggested the phenomena experienced by the Shermans were caused by natural or psychological factors. Instead, NIDE's scientists themselves became witnesses to strange and chilling events. One notable incident involved a newborn calf brutally killed within 40 minutes after the herder turned away. The carcass was dissected with sharp, precise cuts as if performed using modern surgical technology. No blood was spilled, and no trace of an attacker was found. On another occasion, the usually aggressive guard dogs suddenly trembled, tucked their tails, and stared fixedly in one direction. When the team approached, they spotted a strange creature sitting atop a tree, humanoid in shape but with a wolf-like body and glowing eyes in the dark. A team member fired at it, but the creature vanished instantly, leaving no trace. Another baffling phenomenon shocked the researchers. 4 bulls worth tens of thousands of dollars each, securely locked in a separate pen, suddenly disappeared without a trace. They were later found inside a metal trailer locked from the outside, with no signs of forced entry, as if the heavy animals had been teleported through solid matter. Near the fence, the team discovered a piece of metal strongly magnetized, an unusual and unexplained phenomenon. During another night of surveillance, 2 researchers witnessed an event resembling Terry Sherman's earlier account. A glowing orange portal suddenly opened in midair. From it, a low, long, reptilian black creature emerged and silently crawled across the hillside. Both felt their chests tighten, as if being watched from multiple directions. Common to all these phenomena was a disturbing pattern, a distinct metallic stench in the air, compass and measuring devices erratically malfunctioning, and, most notably, a persistent sensation of being watched, as though an invisible intelligence was recording every move. Despite serious investment in high-tech surveillance, NIDES failed to capture clear images or definitive physical evidence. But one thing was certain: at Skinwalker Ranch, something was happening, beyond all normal understanding, challenging modern science itself. After many years of monitoring, data collection, and deploying numerous advanced surveillance devices for that time, the research team in the National Institute for Discovery Science gradually came to a hard-to-accept truth. The strange phenomena at Skinwalker Ranch no longer appeared with the frequency and intensity they once had. By 1998, the series of supernatural events that had amazed scientists, from floating spatial portals, bizarre creatures appearing and vanishing, to cattle dissected with unimaginable precision, suddenly diminished significantly. From tense nights filled with activity, the team now only recorded occasional flickers of strange lights in the sky, a frequent occurrence, but no longer clearly threatening. Although NIDES continued operations until 2004, they eventually had to declare the project at Skinwalker Ranch over. The main reason was not that phenomena had ceased, but due to a lack of concrete, scientifically verifiable evidence. Throughout the research, they collected hundreds of eyewitness reports, many photos of strange lights, dissected cattle specimens, and data on abnormal magnetic fluctuations in the area. However, all fell into a vague gray area, insufficiently clear to convince the wider scientific community, yet impossible to easily dismiss. Part of the cause lay in the technological limitations of the time. In the late 1990s, night vision systems, thermal cameras, and motion sensors were still crude, slow, and prone to errors. Many times, cameras recorded strong interference signals, but could not determine their cause or capture clear images. It seemed that whenever strange phenomena occurred, electronic devices were disabled or lagged behind, as if something knew exactly how to evade all observation tools. The most unsettling admission by researchers was the feeling that they were not merely observing the phenomena, but were being observed by them in return. Many described hours-long sensations of being watched, despite complete. They began envisioning an intelligent entity, active and capable of playing with human perception, always one step ahead, always aware of what they intended to do. Though no final conclusion was reached, Nides' journey at Skinwalker Ranch remains one of the most serious and organized efforts in the history of paranormal research. Though the result was suspicious silence, that very silence deepened the mystery around the ranch, like a labyrinth with no exit, where every question leads only to more inexplicable matters. Today, Skinwalker Ranch is still considered one of the most famous and controversial supernatural sites in the world. Not only because of the many bizarre phenomena recorded, from humanoid creatures and mysterious lights to the puzzling disappearance of livestock, but also because of the nearly decade-long involvement of a formal scientific research group. The seriousness and scale of Nides helped make Skinwalker Ranch a rare case in paranormal studies under the supervision of rigorously trained scientists. Many Nides team members later published books and documents asserting that what they witnessed could not be explained by conventional science. The phenomena they experienced, from witnessing space portals opening midair to feeling manipulated by an invisible intelligence, led them to believe that an entity or phenomenon beyond current human understanding exists on this ranch. However, not everyone accepts those conclusions. Some skeptics argue much of the evidence is unclear, exaggerated, or even a sophisticated hoax. To this day, the big question remains unanswered. The events at Skinwalker Ranch an inexplicable truth, an elaborate scam, or something somewhere between? The answer, perhaps, still quietly hides among the desolate fields of northeastern Utah.